Shocking truth. 25-year-old broken girl rejects prince's love, changes forever at midnight. It was a night shrouded in mystery, thick with shadows and whispers. The moon hung high in the sky like a silver coin, casting an eerie glow over the quaint little town of Eldridge. No one could have guessed that just 1 hour would change everything for Emma Sinclair, a girl so broken that she had been piecing her heart back together since her teenage years. But tonight everything changed. The prince, handsome and wrapped in glamour, knelt before her, love shining in his eyes, as if he held the stars in his palms. And there she stood, trembling, a storm raging inside her, making the impossible choice to say no. The crowd gasped, their eyes wide with disbelief. Some even murmured, "What is she doing?" The words sliced through the night like a knife. It was more than just a rejection. It felt like a curse woven through fate itself. Little did they know, rejecting your prince could stir something ancient, something dark and powerful that even Emma couldn't understand. Girls in the background exchanged nervous glances, their hearts racing, each clenching their fists, wondering if she'd be forever marked. And as soon as those words left Emma's lips, the wind howled as if to announce to heaven and hell things were about to shift. The ground beneath their feet trembled, like it was roused from a long sleep. Was this just coincidence? Logic heaved in her mind. She was confusing every ounce of emotion tied to that explosive moment. Then, without warning, the clock struck midnight. The air thickened, becoming almost electric. Emma felt a wave of cold wash over her, a sensation that curled her toes and made her gasp. A flicker of light burst forth, enveloping her. Had time just folded? She caught the deep shudder of her heart, the way it ached in her chest like a vice, a pendulum swinging between fear and exhilaration. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The crowd's murmur swirled in a chaotic symphony. A collective gasp seized them as they realized something was happening. Something unnatural. Emma's breath hitched. She felt a tug as though the fabric of her reality was slipping. It was obvious to everyone this was more than a simple girl's choice. It felt like she was teetering on the edge, an abyss waiting for her. How could she have known? All around her, the faces flickered in and out of focus like a film with a bad reel. Caught in a whirlwind of emotions, her body tightened. Every part of her screamed to run, but there was nowhere to go. All she could do was stand there, suffocated by shadows and the weight of a choice that would echo through time. What was happening to Emma Sinclair at that moment? And would she ever recover from saying no to a love that felt bigger than life? The darkness whispered secrets, and the midnight hour had just begun. The light enveloping Emma swirled like a tempest, illuminating the fear etched across her features. She stood frozen, unable to comprehend what was happening. The sounds of the crowd faded, the laughter and gasps melting into eerie silence. It was just her and the intangible force that surged from the depths of her decision. She could feel the energy crackling around her, curling at the edges of her consciousness like smoke, and then, just as abruptly as it had started, the light flickered and went dark. Confusion washed over her. It felt as if the very air had been sucked from her lungs. Emma blinked, disoriented, and when her vision cleared, the crowd that had once watched her in awe was gone. The quaint town of Eldridge seemed to vanish, replaced by endless mist and swirling shadows. She was alone. Hello? The word escaped her lips, trembling and uncertain. Echoing back to her was a chilling silence, pressing against her like a heavy blanket. No response. She took a step forward, her heart racing. Panic clawed at her throat. This wasn't right. What had she done? What did it all mean? Then something stirred in the shadows ahead, and a figure emerged. An unsettling chill saturated the air as the figure drew closer. Emma squinted, straining her eyes against the gloom. The silhouette transformed into a tall, cloaked figure, with eyes that glimmered in the half-light, piercing and otherworldly. Emma Sinclair, it spoke, the voice smooth but laced with an undertone of foreboding. You have invited the darkness upon yourself. By rejecting the prince, you've opened a threshold to a world you cannot comprehend. Emma felt a chill dance down her spine. What? I don't understand. I just said no. Her voice quivered, drenched in disbelief. Every fiber of her being screamed to back away, but curiosity sharp and biting held her in place. Love and power are woven together in ways rarely understood. You possess a spark of destiny entwined with these fates, the figure continued, gliding forward like a specter. Your rejection has set forth a quest, one that will demand a sacrifice. 1,000 questions flooded her mind, but the most pressing one leaped to her lips. What do you mean? What sacrifice? Only by unraveling the secrets of your heart can you understand the true meaning of love, it declared cryptically. The path is dangerous, fraught with truths that can shatter your very essence. It begins now. Just then a surge of wind whipped through, carrying with it whispers that felt like echoes of lost souls. Emma staggered, clutching her chest, feeling the gravity of the moment. This was more than a rejection or a curse. It was a call to adventure she had never wanted. What if I refuse? She dared to ask, trembling as the shadows thickened around her. The figure paused, and an unsettling smile curved beneath the hood. Refusal is not an option, dear Emma. The darkness is already awakened. You must confront it or be consumed by it. The world began to spin. She felt herself being drawn into the unknown. A pulsing darkness swirled around her, and with it came a chilling whisper that resonated through her mind. Remember, the choice comes with a price. As she felt herself slipping into the grip of shadows, Emma's heart raced faster than ever. What awaited her on this enigmatic journey? Was this truly the beginning of her transformation, or was it the start of her end? The air thrummed with an eerie promise. And in that moment one thing became painfully clear. She was far from finished. But what path lay ahead would shake her to her very core. The shadows tightened around Emma like a vice, pulling her deeper into the murkiness. The cloaked figure loomed closer, its features obscured, its voice now a guide through the abyss. You must find the heart of the darkness, it whispered, each word dripping with urgency. Only then will you reclaim your fate. Her pulse raced as remnants of the crowd's cheers faded into a haunting melody of whispers. They echoed around her, weaving amongst the shadows. What does that mean? She asked, struggling not to sound terrified. What heart? Where am I? But the figure remained silent, its gaze unyielding. With a flick of the wrist, it gestured towards the heavy mist that curled at their feet. Emma felt a pull, a gravitational force begging her to step forward. The fog writhed, revealing twisted paths leading into the unknown. Gulping, she took a tentative step ahead. The ground felt damp beneath her sneakers, an unsettling reminder that she was no longer on familiar soil. Mist swirled, taking the shapes of distorted faces, lost souls trapped in a dream. Instinctively she recoiled, heart pounding hard against her ribcage. Focus, Emma, the figure urged, and she sensed an intensity in its presence that sparked both fear and curiosity. You are not just a wanderer now, you are a seeker. The heart lies within the shadowed hollow. Shadowed hollow? She repeated, confusion etching deeper lines across her forehead. It sounded like something crafted from the mouth of a storyteller, a place that should exist only in fables. The figure nodded. You must confront your fears. Face what you once rejected. And just like that, the darkness around her thickened, pulsating like a living entity. Doubt swelled within, gnawing at her bravery. What if this was more than a mere quest? What if the heart of this journey revealed truth she was unprepared to face? Suddenly, the air crackled, and she winced as a vision flashed before her eyes, an image of the prince, his handsome face twisted in disappointment, with anger simmering just beneath the surface. A mixture of regret and longing bloomed in her chest, catching her off guard. Is this what I must confront? She murmured, the question an echo of her unspoken fears. The figure observed her quietly, the shadows around it churning as if impatient. Every choice carries weight, it replied softly. But be wary, the hollow is filled with illusions. Not everything is as it seems. What you desire may come at an unbearable price. With a deep breath, Emma nodded to herself, finding shards of courage in the depth of her fear. She had to press on to find the heart, whatever that might mean. As she entered the darkening paths of the shadowed hollow, an uneasy thrill coursed through her. Branches twisted like gnarled fingers overhead, entwining and blocking out the faint light. The shadows grew thicker, and for a moment, she felt utterly lost. Her heart raced, and the doubt tightened its grip again. What if this isn't what I want? She whispered to the suffocating darkness, her voice trembling. The figure hovered just beyond her peripheral vision, its presence a constant reminder of her heavy choices. You may not yet grasp your true desires, Emma. The path ahead will reveal more than you want to know. As she moved deeper into the hollow, the chills snatched at her skin, more palpable than ever. Suddenly she heard a voice, clear and haunting, a whisper wrapped in honeyed tones, drawing her in, singing her name like a siren-esque call. Emma, come to me, everything will be revealed. She paused, torn between echoes of longing and the alarms ringing in her mind. Who was calling her? And what truth awaited her if she followed? In that moment of hesitation, uncertainty clung to her like the very shadows enveloping her. But she knew one thing for certain. To navigate through, she'd have to confront the darkness and face the essence of her choices. As she moved again, determination coursed through her veins. Little did she know that each step taken would alter everything, but something lurked in the shadows, waiting for Emma. A truth that could change the core of who she thought she was. And time was running out. Pushing forward, Emma felt both exhilaration and dread weave through her. A sinister blend that sent shivers racing down her spine. The call of her name melted into the air, lingering like a haunting refrain. Every step drew her deeper into the heart of the hollow, where whispers twisted around her ankles like vines, tugging her closer to the edge of her own reality. The shadows pulsed, acting like an endless sea, two opposing currents pulling her toward temptation and fear. Branches snapped overhead, and she flinched as one reached down, grazing her cheek. The mere touch of the dry bark felt like fingers pulling her back, urging her to reconsider her choice. Emma, embrace your truth, you can't run away forever, the voice cooed again, dripping with a deceptive sweetness. The air thickened and her breath sharpened. Who was it? The prince? Or perhaps a part of her she had buried deep? I'm not running, I'm seeking, she shot back defiantly, even as uncertainty quaked in her voice. Those words faltered as she remembered the prince's disappointed gaze. Regret clenched at her heart, an unrelenting vice. A faint glow shimmered ahead, lighting a path tangled with thorns. Emma hesitated. What lurked beyond that glow? What other visions awaited her? Was this a revelation or a trap? She could almost taste the dread, sour and intoxicating in her mouth. Compelling energy pulled her toward the light, and despite the surge of fear, she followed it. The whispers faded, replaced by the distant sound of a soft melody, guiding yet eerie. As she navigated through the patches of darkness and light, she felt fragments of her past swirl around her like confetti, memories intermixing with the shadows. Then, a figure appeared before her in the glow, illuminated like an angel amid shadows. The prince. His once handsome visage now drowned in shadows, his features both comforting and tormenting. He was an echo of happier times, a reminder of love mingled with the ache of rejection. Why did you come back? He asked, his voice a mix of pain and longing. Her breath caught. She didn't know if she wanted to answer. I didn't want to hurt you, she murmured, the admission tasting bitter. But I'm lost. I need to know what? He interrupted, his eyes piercing into her, burdened with the weight of her choices. That some truths are too heavy to bear? The shadows shifted, morphing into dimensions of her life, twisting and writhing like a snake shedding skin. Images of her could have been self-enveloped her, herself adorned as a radiant princess, laughter drifting on the air. But as those visions spun out, they turned hollow, empty, fractured. Look around you, Emma, this is who you are meant to be, the prince urged, his voice now laced with desperation. But you must decide. Confront the pain you refuse to face. For an instant she felt alive. Hope flickered within her, but it was soon swallowed by a wave of despair. The hollow, it wasn't merely a quest, it was about her truth, her failures. Should she forge ahead into the unknown, risking everything to reclaim what seemed lost, or surrender to the familiar shadows that were so skillfully entwined with her fears? Emma shook her head, taking a step back from the shimmering light. If I embrace the truth, will I lose everything? Will it change who I am? The prince's gaze softened, expressing a hope she craved. Sometimes losing what you thought defines you is the first step towards freedom. As a cold gust swept through the hollow, she felt something shift within her. a decision teetering on the edge of her thoughts. Did she have the strength to embrace the darkness? The shadows began to close in, urgency slicing through the moment. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, a chilling laughter echoed, casting all bravado aside. A shape lurked out of the darkness, creeping closer, hunger glinting in its menacing eyes. Time was running out, and the choice loomed larger than life itself. Would embracing her truth grant her freedom, or would it seal her fate? With breath hitching in her throat, she turned toward the approaching figure, realization dawning on her that the answer lay not just in confronting the darkness, but in discovering what it truly meant to face herself. And as the figure drew near, Emma took a final breath, ready to confront the shadows of her past. But as those eyes met hers, she felt something shift inside her, a realization that would change everything. What waited in the darkness was not just fear, it was her. Who would she become if she survived? Would she wish she hadn't followed? Emma's heart thundered in her chest as the menacing figure emerged, tangible dread curling like smoke around her. The face that appeared was one she knew all too well herself. But this wasn't the girl who had walked into the hollow seeking balance. This was someone darker. Grime stained her cheeks and shadows formed lines around her eyes, masking the hope that once shone there. "Welcome back," the shadowy version of Emma sneered, voice dripping with scorn and melancholy. "Did you miss me? Or were you simply too afraid to face the truth? That you're nothing without darkness, just a flickering candle waiting to be snuffed out." Emma stumbled back, her breath quickening, the weight of those words crashing upon her. "I am more than you. I can be more," she cried out, desperation lacing her voice. Yet, even as she spoke, doubts flooded in, gnawing at her confidence. "More?" The other Emma laughed, a sharp, jagged sound that cut through the gloomy air. "You were never meant to be anything more than this. Embrace it. Run away no longer. You'll only find pain, confusion, and loneliness. At least I'm familiar." The real Emma looked from the prince to the mocking shadows of herself. Only a heartbeat separated them, but it felt like an eternity. "I can choose differently," she whispered, and even she could hear the uncertainty in her voice. The prince stepped forward, determination lighting his eyes, cutting through the thickness of the moment. "You can't give in to her lies. Don't let her draw you back into the darkness that nearly swallowed you whole." As hesitation battled against desperation inside her, Emma screamed, "I won't let myself be defined by fear. I want to live." The hollow trembled as if the very air was responding to her urgency. A gust seemed to ripple through the shadows, and for a moment, the haunting echoes of doubt dulled. A flicker of the past ignited in her memories, moments when she felt truly alive, laughing at sunset with the prince, dancing among the blooms of spring. That flicker began to grow, and Emma pressed onward. "You're nothing but a shadow. A part of me that thrives in darkness. I want the light." With each word the figure flickered, her form becoming less sure, caught between the wavering light of Emma's newfound resolve. Fear twisted in Emma's gut, but alongside it, there bloomed an unexpected warmth, a flicker of courage. "Will that make you stronger?" the shadowed version challenged, and as she spoke, tendrils of darkness stretched toward Emma, attempting to reclaim her. "Or are you just lying to yourself? You can't escape me." But Emma took a deep breath, her heart racing, mixing dread with stubborn defiance. "I am my own truth," she declared. In that moment the hazy edges of the hollow sharpened, revealing patches of vibrant color and warmth burying beneath the shadows. An unsettling shift occurred, the ground beneath them trembled, and the figure surged forward, ethereal arms reaching out as the shadows began to cry out in alarm. "You won't break free so easily." The air crackled with energy, and Emma felt her body being tugged by forces beyond her control, both from the shadows and the light. Heart racing, she closed her eyes, concentrating on what she wanted to embrace, understanding taking shape like a beacon in the chaos. "I will embrace all of me," she shouted into the maelstrom. "My failures, my fears, and all the love I still hold." In that moment, a piercing silence enveloped the hollow before an explosion of light erupted around her. Emma braced herself as a wave ran through the shadows, lighting the sorrowful eyes of her doppelganger, twisting her fading form into a half-formed scream of rage. Suddenly, everything exploded into blinding brilliance, and for a heartbeat, Emma felt everything shift. But just as abruptly, she felt herself tumble into the void, suspended between what was and what could be. As falling turned into drifting, a chilling question surfaced in the void. Was she truly ready to uncover what awaited her on the other side? The ground below began to swirl with darkness, and the echo of laughter rang through the air, urging her to remember the confrontation was far from over. What awaited her might be the light, but it could just as quickly become another layer of darkness, and as the light shimmered around her, she grasped for answers, not sure if they would be the freedom she sought or another trap. Where would this final choice lead her? The blinding radiance flickered and pulsated, pulling Emma deeper into an endless expanse. She felt as if she were caught in a wild storm, the wind howling around her, lashing against her skin, dragging her heart in different directions. What was intended to be a sanctuary had become a terrifying abyss. Then, a sudden stillness swallowed the winds. Breathless, she opened her eyes, standing tall on a shimmering surface that felt strangely solid beneath her feet. The void had transformed into a vast, dreamlike landscape pulsing with vibrant hues still bathed in light. Yet shadows lurked in the corners. Panic clawed at her throat. She took a hesitant step forward, the brightness before her revealing endless paths diverging in every direction. Each was framed by familiar faces distorted by time and grief: the prince, friends long gone, even her shadowy counterpart from the hollow. Their expressions spoke to her, but muted echoes drowned out their words. Fragments of whispers rang in her ears, each one drowning her in memories she had tried to forget. Fights, heartbreak, and moments of despair. A voice harsh and commanding broke through the haze. "You like the light now, don't you? It's a pretty illusion." Emma whipped around. There, looming in the vibrant landscape, was her dark doppelganger, now more tangible, a twisted smile plastered across her face. "But remember, every light casts a shadow. You can never escape me." "That is not true," Emma shouted, her voice stronger than it had been moments ago. "I'm choosing to embrace my truth. You have no power over me." The figure recoiled but regained her poise, deliberately stepping closer until Emma felt the chill of her presence. "You think you can face them? The past will always haunt you. The fear that once gripped you? It's still lurking just beyond the light." Emma's breath hitched. Her heart raced like a thunderous drum, each pulse a reminder of her battle against the darkness, a reminder that the shadows might never fully fade. But there was something else lurking in her chest, a current of determination. "I won't let you take me back. I would rather face my fears and find the light." With each declaration, the ground beneath her feet pulsed with energy, surging through her. The swirling shadows around began to replicate her feelings, twisting into forms both haunting and beautiful: laughter, tears, and even the pain that had once felt insurmountable. Instead of fear, she chose acceptance. "You're a part of me, but you don't define me." "Then prove it," the shadow hissed, an unsettling grin stretching across her face, barbed at the corners with malice. Suddenly, dark tendrils lashed out from her, snaking toward Emma like hungry vipers. Emma was filled with rising terror, but somewhere deep down was an anchoring hope. As the shadows coiled around her body, she yelled, "Bring it on! I want to hide." She felt an awakening, a burning will igniting her very core, chasing the chill away like sunlight breaking through a storm. She unleashed the energy building within her, spreading her arms wide while calling upon every ounce of love and acceptance. The dark tendrils hesitated, recoiling as her heart illuminated the trembling landscape. "This is my truth," she declared fiercely. Explosion after explosion of light surged through the void as she burst free of the shadow's grip, illuminating every corner like fireworks in the night sky. Tentative hope became light and was met with the quiet hum of 1,000 possibilities, blooming against the cold silence. But just then, a piercing scream shattered the air, both haunting and familiar. Emma turned, eyes widening as she recognized the host of faces merging together: friends, family, and the prince, all swirling in agony, stuck between their past and this moment. A shivering urgency set in as she realized the truth. She had to face not just her darkness, but theirs too. Would she be able to guide them out of their shadows? Or would she lose them forever? Emma took a deep breath, knowing the hardest part was yet to come. "I won't let you down," she shouted, propelling herself toward them, ready to embrace this challenge. But the shadows still hissed warnings, creeping closer. What she once thought was the light was now revealing a darker choice ahead, and she stood at the edge, wondering if she'd be strong enough to challenge the shadows that came for them all. What awaited her when she crossed that line? The moment Emma launched herself toward the swirling faces, her heart hammered like 1,000 war drums in her ears. She knew she was stepping into a tempest not just of her own shadows, but of the pain and regrets of those she held dear. The air thickened, tension wrapping around her like a vice, each breath pulling in agony and uncertainty. "Help us, Emma." The voices emerged from every direction, each one cutting through her resolve like a shard of glass. They wept and pleaded, reaching out with trembling hands that flickered in and out of the light. The faces twisted with sorrow, binding her heart in knots. Emma pushed through the suffocating fear, her feet moving on instinct. She had faced her darkness. Now she needed to be the beacon for others. "I'm here. You're not alone. We'll face this together," she shouted despite the desperate shadows threatening to engulf her. Feeling the heat of their malevolence like a furnace blast suddenly, an overwhelming wave of dark energy surged, sweeping through the ground, threatening to pull her back into the abyss. Emma's knees buckled as an icy claw wrapped around her heart. It was her doppelganger, visibly more powerful now, her laugh echoing like thunder. "Together? They're lost in the void. You can't save them. Your light will fade and you'll join them." "No," Emma cried out, digging her fingers into the warm ground. "I won't let that happen." A surge of warmth blossomed from her chest as she called upon every shred of courage. "I choose love. I choose life." With a fierce roar, Emma threw herself into the fray, her arms spreading wide, each finger trembling with intensity. Brilliant tendrils of light erupted from her, illuminating the dark landscape like bolts of clarity. The shadows recoiled, momentarily blinded by the brilliance as Emma fought to reach the faces of her friends. "See them," she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "See who you are. Remember the light. Remember the laughter." She focused on each face, pulling forth the best memories, laughter shared in sunlit fields, whispered secrets under the stars, dreams exchanged over warm fires. As the memories took root, something miraculous happened. Faces began to break free from their shadowy binds, flickering silhouettes solidifying into sharp clarity. Each friend reached out, eyes igniting with renewed hope, but the shadows twisted violently, thrashing against the re-emerging light. "Stop! You're making a mistake," the dark figure shrieked, her voice clawing at Emma's confidence. "You'll lose them again. Just like before." A moment of doubt threatened to slip through, a crack in her composure. But Emma steeled her heart. "No, my love isn't a burden. It's a lifeline. I refuse to let fear rule my mind." In a heart-stopping moment, Emma sprang into the center of the chaos, surrounding her friends with an incandescent shield of light. The shadows writhed at the edges, drawn to her energy like moths to a flame. She could feel every heartbeat, every moment of their pain intertwining with her own, and she held strong, willing herself to be the anchor they needed. An explosion of light erupted from her core, engulfing everyone in a warmth that felt like home. The shadows started to dissolve, curling into wisps of smoke as each friend found their footing, their eyes wide with recognition and resolve. But just when it seemed they might break free, a deafening roar reverberated through the air, shaking the very ground beneath their feet. "You think you can take them from me?" The dark figure bellowed in wrath, her form expanding like a storm cloud. "I will not let you." Caught in the clash of light and shadow, Emma blinked through the blinding brilliance. The certainty that surged through her was unyielding. They would have to confront this terror together. This was not just about reclaiming their past but forging a new path, one they all deserved. As the dark figure prepared for another blow, Emma's determination ignited. "We're more than our shadows," she screamed, rallying her friends around her, their own glimmers of light sparking into existence. But just as they began to push back against the encroaching darkness, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The very fabric of this world felt like it was unraveling, and a terrifying revelation washed over Emma. The battle was only just beginning. Would they band together, harnessing their collective light against the darkness? Or would they be consumed by the shadows creeping ever closer, ready to drag them down into despair? What lay ahead was unknown, but they were all committed to facing it together. The ground heaved beneath Emma, rattling her confidence and threatening to shatter their hard-won unity. The air crackled with tension, thick with shadows swirling like vultures overhead. She could feel each pulse of fear radiating from her friends, their eyes darting around, searching for escape. "Stay close," Emma shouted, conscious of the storm gathering around them. The dark figure loomed larger, fury etched into her features. Shadows wrapped around her like serpents, hissing threats that echoed in the silence. "You can't win, little girl. They are mine." A chill seeped into Emma's bones. The shadows danced closer, whispering lies that tugged at her heart. "You're weak. Just like before." "No." Emma's voice trembled, but she stood tall, clenching her fists tight, every ounce of her resolve shifting into something blazing. "You won't take them from me." Her friends steadied themselves, mirroring her instincts. They formed a circle, hands clasped tight, a web of hope tightening against the encroaching darkness. "Feel the light," Emma cried, focusing on the warmth radiating from within. It sparked a ripple of strength among her friends, their energy buzzing like power lines. "We cherish each other, and that will break you." The dark figure laughed, a sound like shattering glass. "Your love won't save you. It only binds you." The shadows surged forward, a tidal wave of despair, eager to pull them apart. Like a dam bursting, Emma pushed all her love, all her memories into the shield. "Fight. Remember the laughter. Remember how we stood firm together." A collage of memories flooded her mind: beach trips under sun-kissed skies, barefoot running in the grass, their voices mingling in laughter. Her friends' faces glowed with recognition, and pieces of their own inner light began to awaken. One by one they dug into their hearts, finding memories that surged back like a tidal wave. "Emma," a voice called out, trembling but strong. It was Jake, his eyes alight with determination. "I remember the night we sat together under the stars. You shared your dreams, and I knew then I would fight for you. For us." Emma's heart soared, the bond thickening around them, a collective pulse that began to overwhelm the shadows. "Yes, that's it. We are a force. We stand together." As they united, a blinding flash erupted from the circle, sending tendrils of light spiraling outward. The walls of their dim world quivered as the shadows shrieked, recoiling into the cracks of the ground. But the dark figure roared, the sound drowning everything. The darkness twisted, consuming the light, and Emma could sense the seriousness of their fight growing heavier. "Your memories are weak, Emma. I will devour this force before it has a chance to rise. Watch as your love becomes your downfall." Emma felt the cold grip of fear claw at her throat, squeezing hard. But then she caught a glance from her friend, Sarah, eyes filled with unwavering support, determination lacing every fiber of her being. In that brief moment something clicked. They weren't just friends, they were warriors. "We won't let you break us," Emma screamed into the chaos, squeezing her eyes shut. "We refuse to be your prey." From her heart, an unprecedented surge erupted, illuminating everything in blinding brightness. Each spark of connection fed the energy surrounding them, and slowly the shadows screamed louder. They writhed in agony, losing ground, darkness receding in the face of collective love and resolve. "Come on. We can't lose now," Emma shouted, her voice a battle cry that united them all. "Push through. Let the light ignite." As the fabric of their world warped and stretched, a powerful surge washed over them, overwhelming the shadows and bridging the gap between light and dark. Emma felt the ground yield beneath her, shifting, trembling as though the very essence of their shared courage was tearing through the dark. But just when it seemed they might prevail, a curtain of gloom reshaped and thickened all around them. The dark figure rose again, its presence looming larger than before, hatred boiling in its eyes. "You think you've won? You're merely at the beginning of a much darker journey." A fresh wave of dread settled over Emma as she realized that this fight was just a prelude. But with every ounce of hope tethered to her friends, she took a step forward, prepared to face this new challenge head-on. What other horrors awaited them in the shadows? As the dark figure unleashed another flurry of chaos, Emma tightened her grip around her friend's hands. "Whatever comes next, we will face it together." But were they truly ready for the depths of darkness that loomed ahead? The darkness roared like a beast unleashed, wrapping around them with a vile grip that threatened to snatch away their newfound strength. Emma's heart hammered in her chest as she felt the shadows closing in. The laughter of the dark figure twisted in her ears, a cacophony of malice. "You think you can fight me with memories? Pathetic. Stay strong," Jake yelled, his voice a beacon amid the chaos. But Emma could feel the shadows pulling tatters of doubt, stitching into her friend's resolve. She sensed their fear like a heavy fog, weaving its way through their circle. Focus, she barked, pushing a surge of energy through the link they had created. Remember who we are. Sarah met her gaze, her eyes blazing with determination. We are not afraid. But the dark figure surged forward, and a torrent of shadows screamed into their hearts, gnawing at their unity, crashing against their light like frenzied waves against a rocky shore. Emma staggered, nearly losing her footing. She felt the cold claw of despair snag her thoughts, whispering cruelly, "You will fail just like before." "No," Emma shouted, her voice cracking with the weight of her conviction. "Not this time. Fight. Remember." Images flooded her mind anew, the warmth of those days mingling with the chill of the present. Their first camping trip under the stars. The way they danced in the rain, laughing and lifting each other high. Moments woven with love and laughter, vibrant and undeniable. "I see it," Jake chimed in suddenly, as if struck by an epiphany. "The time we fought our fears together. Remember how we stood against the storm of all those lies?" With a rush of determination, Emma felt her voice knit their energies together. "Then we stand. We are a force." In that surreal clash of light and dark, a thin beam of hope sprang forth between them. It shimmered, fragile but resolute. Their grip tightened. "Let the light break through," Emma shouted, her voice powerful and fierce. As the shadows hesitated, recoiling ever so slightly, the dark figure's scream of rage pierced the air. A sound raw and primal. "You dare defy me again? You cannot escape. Every moment you hold on to light, I will shatter it. Bring it on." Sarah yelled defiantly, her spirit flaring. With a surge of shared strength, Emma focused deeply inside herself, pulling that warmth aggressively toward the surface. It was like reaching for the sun after a winter's frost, awakening the dormant beliefs that had persevered in their hearts, and in one reckless moment of unity, they unleashed a surge of combined light. It burst forth like a star igniting in the night sky, brighter than anything they had conjured before. The shadows quaked violently, shrieking as they were splintered by that radiance, hanging on the edge of retreat, but just as the darkness faltered, the ground beneath them trembled dangerously, sending fissures across their feet that threatened to swallow them whole. With every writhe of the earth, a new wave of fear surged through Emma's chest. "What is happening?" she gasped. The dark figure, now partially obscured by the light, began to laugh again, but this time it was tinged with something darker. "They will take more than your memories, little girl. A greater price is coming, one you never anticipated. You cannot escape your fate." Emma's breath quickened. What did that mean? The thrill of hope was being laced with dread, and doubts began to gnaw through the fabric of their circle once more. "Together," Jake cried, sensing the shift. But as Emma turned to her friends, their faces drained of color. A chilling realization sank in. The shadows were whispering their worst fears, and the shadows she thought she could banish were rising back to challenge them with a fury. "Face them," Sarah shouted over the din, but Emma's heart sank as she felt the cold tendrils creeping closer. Would they truly be able to withstand whatever lay in store? With every ounce of strength they had left, would they be bold enough to confront the greater horror yet to come? Suddenly, the ground tore open, revealing an abyss that seemed to swallow the very light they had fought to create. Emma stumbled backward, eyes wide with a mix of fear and determination. "Are you ready?" came a voice from the darkness behind her, one she recognized but hadn't heard in ages. Emma's stomach churned, knowing she would have to face not just the dark figure's fury but something she had long buried. "What is this?" she whispered, struggling to comprehend what was unfolding in that gaping chasm. She could hear the echoes of loss, the promise of sacrifices yet to come. As shadows beckoned her closer, a single question pierced through her fog of confusion. What dark truths were waiting on the other side of that abyss? The abyss yawned before Emma, a gaping maw filled with the echo of her past, the pain, the regrets, the shadows dimming her heart's potential. She felt the call of familiarity laced with dread. "Don't let it take you," her friends shouted, their voices mingling with the cacophony of whispers urging her to step back into the darkness, the chaos she thought she had banished. But she surged forward, heart pounding in her chest. "I won't be afraid anymore." As she clutched Jake's hand tighter, she felt the warmth of shared hope steadying her. They took a collective breath, their only armor against the creeping shadows. their only weapon against the darkness swirling in the chasm below. "I can't lose myself again," Emma shouted, her voice echoing as fear and determination collided. In that moment, a wave of nostalgia tore through her, a time when she felt free, laughter alive within her. Those memories fueled her, igniting a fire as bright as the sun. I refused to be molded by fear. With the combined forces of her friends behind her, they formed a circle, a bubble of light trapped in the steady encroachment of darkness. "Together we are strong," Sarah shouted, strength rippling through her. The shadows faced them, heartbeat by heartbeat, inch by inch. In that flash of conviction, Emma looked into the abyss one last time, remembering that every struggle, every uncertain moment, had merely set the stage for this fight. "We choose to embrace our truth, our unity." As those words resonated, the shadows recoiled, but the dark figure lashed out, furious. "You think you know the price of love? Just wait." At that, Emma froze. A gnawing apprehension crept in. What does that mean? But before she could ponder, the ground beneath them shook violently, tendrils of darkness lashing out, desperate to consume what light remained. "Stay strong," Jake encouraged, his voice determined. Emma took a deep breath, focusing on the light that flickered within them, the memories that kept them from succumbing. They charged ahead, hands still locked, hearts hammering bravely. The light surged from Emma's core, wrapping around each one of them, bolstering their resolve. They breached the edge of the abyss, leaping across the rift with collective strength. But the dark figure was relentless, clawing for their connection, knowing very well how fragile their unity could be. "You can't escape," it shrieked, the voice splintered with rage and despair. "We're not going back." Emma defied it, stepping forward into the face of the tempest, her friends rallying beside her. "We won, T-Bow. We challenged the darkness." The air thickened, igniting the folds of their shared experiences into a blazing inferno of connection. The dark figure's form flickered in the intensity, and Emma realized the light they carried ignited something new, something primal. It was not just about confronting their own shadows, but about confronting the collective pain they had all endured. Suddenly, with a deafening roar, that longing for light erupted into a manifestation of color so vibrant it illuminated the hollow with warmth. Memories of laughter intertwined with tears, the depths of heartbreak elevated by unwavering support. Emma reached into the turmoil, pulling those memories closer, creating tendrils of light that wove together the fabric of their bond. "Feel the love," she cried, and at that moment, everything surged forward. The light burst forth, crackling through the space between them, blinding each shadow within reach. It became too powerful, a beacon piercing the encroaching night. The dark figure shrank, howling defiant, as it clawed at the remnants of despair, but was too late. Their united hearts had ignited a force beyond reckoning. With one final push, Emma and her friends hurled their love forward, illuminating every dark corner of the abyss, like the dawn breaking after a long night. The shadows screamed, faded into nothingness, unraveling in the overwhelming brightness. The ground stabilized beneath them, the air cleared. Emma stood, breathless with a sense of triumph and peace, the light wrapping around them like a warm embrace. The dark figure disintegrated into wisps, whispering threats as it faded away. "Emma, you did it!" Jake exclaimed, his eyes wide with disbelief and joy. A wave of emotions crashed over her. Relief like fresh air after being submerged. Regret lingered but was now dulled, overshadowed by the victory they had fought for together. "We did it!" Emma beamed at her friends, embracing them one by one, the warmth of their triumph filling her spirit. "I choose to live fully. I choose to face every part of me, light and shadow," she vowed, her heart once again whole. Their laughter mingled with the echoes of the past, no longer something to behold in fear, but as a testament of survival. In the distance, the moon hung brighter than before, and Eldridge glimmered back to life, waving like an old friend welcoming her home. Emma glanced at her friends, bound not just by love or memories, but by something greater, resilience. And just like that, the darkness had lost its power over them. They walked back hand in hand, hearts unburdened, knowing they wouldn't have to face the shadows alone ever again. This was the moment of reconciliation. They had emerged battered, yet more resolute, cloaked in the acceptance that life would always cast its shadow, but together, they would always be stronger. And so, with resolute hearts, Emma stepped into the future, ready to embrace whatever awaited them. Now that you've experienced this epic resolution, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And don't forget to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this unforgettable conclusion. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring journey. Don't wait even one more second to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions.